What is the secret to unlocking your full potential? What makes your idols any different than you? How do you become the person you've always wanted to be in life? This is where you get all of your questions answered. My name is Justin Shank, and I sit down with some of the most epic individuals who are changing the world with their actions in business and in life. We discuss how they did it, why they pushed themselves, and more importantly, how they were able to focus on continuous growth to achieve their dreams. Welcome to the Growth Now movement. This week, I sit down with Nicholas Tintle. I met Nick at Justin Kavanaugh's mastermind when I was speaking there, and he shared his story with me as I was going through a workshop of the art of storytelling. And his story blew me away. From his emotion to his desire to win and everything else in between, it was an absolutely incredible thing to draw from and learn from. And one of the biggest takeaways is it is not only about the destination, it's what we learn in our journey. It's about what the hardships are teaching us versus allowing ourselves to become a victim in order to create what we consider our own championship. You see, today, Nick is a top 200 lacrosse player. He's currently featured in one of the first player-owned leagues in the country where he's traveling all over the place to major cities, playing in championship games, and it has absolutely been an incredible journey for him. You see, in this episode, he shares that rock-bottom moment of when he was a Division I lacrosse player and his friend was gunned down and killed, and how he reacted to that, and how it set his life on a course that he had no idea that he was going to be on. And how he's taken everything that he's learned in hardship and in the sport of lacrosse to then coach young people how to get through the journey in life. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this story and this conversation with Nick, as this was one of his first interviews he's ever done, and it is the first time he's ever shared his story publicly. So you'll hear his apprehension and his nerves, but I think that if you pull out the greatness in this story, you're going to be blown away. So without further ado, I give to you my friend, Nick Tintle. Nick, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we met at Coach Cav's mastermind group, which you're a part of, and you know, we did a cool exercise where everybody was sharing their story, and Cav kind of lobbed it up at the end of the event, was like, is there anybody here that you'd want to have on your show? And immediately I was like, Nick needs to come on the show. Obviously your accomplishments are incredible, right? And obviously the journey to get there is another feat in itself. So obviously when somebody says, hey, I'm a top 200 lacrosse player in the world, that's amazing. So congratulations for being labeled as that. It means you're good at it, right? But why don't you just take a couple minutes to just kind of introduce yourself to my audience about who you are today, and then we'll unpack how we got there.
So I'm Nick Tintle, Coach Tintle over here. I am a professional lacrosse player for now the PLL. Recently just won a championship with the Denver Outlaws in the Major League Lacrosse, but we shifted to a different league this year, and that's PLL, and that's gained some traction. And I would say, like, rewind 3 years, I was out of the game. I didn't play. I came back and decided I wanted to play as a 30-year-old rookie. Paid my way to open tryouts, and then got invited to camp and wound up making the team, and got back into loving the sport that has consumed a big part of my life. And now a couple years back, I opened up a gym called Athlete's Choice, and been running that. We started with an 8,000 square foot gym. I'm now in a 21,000 square foot gym.
Holy crap!
Yeah, so it's a big undertaking, but our niche is definitely lacrosse. We have some top lacrosse coaches in the area. We have some top strength and conditioning coaches and speed specialists in the area, and we kind of do a speed, strength, skill type setting, and we also have adult fitness in the morning and all that as well.
Yeah. So how long ago did you open the gym?
So we opened the gym. So I started working at the gym as just the lacrosse performance trainer, speed coach, and strength coach, and then I bought the gym 3 years ago.
Okay, cool. So you were obviously training lacrosse players while you were out of the game. And like you said, you take this crazy leap at the age of 30 to try out. Like, that's one of those things, by the way, if lacrosse was as big as the NFL, like, you'd be like, you'd have a movie right now on Disney, right, with Disney, because you step away from the game for so long, and most people would lose a step, be a little bit harder. They'd try out, they wouldn't make it. Like I think there was a baseball movie about it. It's called The Rookie or whatever. That old guy who came back and pitched. But what was it where you're like, you know what, I am going to step back into this. I am going to give this a try at the age of 30.
I think starting to love the game again was a big part of it. And then I'm a big health enthusiast. So I staying in shape, getting into speed training, strength training, getting all my certifications and really keeping my body at at performing at its best ability, if not better than when I was in college. Just kind of got me this, I just got an itch again. I got an itch to play again. And I actually was working at a different gym and I tried out for the Bayhawks in Maryland, in Chesapeake Bayhawks. And I made it to the last round and I got cut. So that was kind of another point. And I think I was at 28 or something like that, 27, 28. And, kind of was just like, all right, well, I tried it and moved on. And then, the itch just didn't go away.
Yeah.
So I kind of just, I trained as hard as I possibly could, as smart as I possibly could for the next couple of years, and then gave it another go.
Yeah. I mean, and when you think about that, like at the age of, what are you now, 33, if I'm doing the math correctly?
I'll be 33 on Sunday.
Oh, nice. Well, happy birthday. So at the age of 33, do you find compared to playing in college, which you played Division I college, we didn't even get into that yet, but compared to playing in college, how much harder is it with a 33-year-old body than a 19-year-old body to compete?
It's tough. You definitely take a different mindset to it. In college, it's all about, lifting as heavy as you can, working as hard as you can, just the grind. For me, it's working a lot smarter now. So more mobility, more stretching, changing up my workouts more often, right? Doing different things to teach my body how to move differently. I think recovery is a huge thing. We have a recovery center at the gym. So, Normatec recovery, game ready recovery, all this different stuff, percussion therapy is huge to keeping my body performing at the apex of its abilities in order to stay up with these 24, 25-year-old kids. Yeah,
it's like, do you have any old man nicknames?
You know what? I probably do in locker room. I can't even think of them off my head, but yeah, I'm definitely I was me and one other kid who actually just retired, Matt Bacco, were the oldest guys on the team. Yeah, the veterans.
That's cool. So, through this journey, and I just kind of glanced over the idea that you are a Division I player and you played for North Carolina. I almost said Duke on purpose and I didn't want it off. So you played for North Carolina. North Carolina. What was that like? So to play in a Division I school, right? And again, forgive me for not knowing as much about lacrosse as I should have, because in my opinion, I know that it's an upcoming sport. I know more and more kids are playing it, but when I went to high school, I'm a year older than you. So when I went to high school, it wasn't really a thing. How did you even get introduced to and then what was it that made you fall in love to pursue into Division?
So growing up, I was always into contact sports. So those were the sports that I kind of gravitated to. Growing up in Long Island, New York, I mean, lacrosse is one of the bigger sports that in Maryland. And you know what? I just started playing. I actually started playing later than most of the kids. I started in fourth grade, but that's still, super young. And it was football and lacrosse, two of my favorite sports. They're contact sports. You have to have a lot of different skill set for both of them. And then, I got to the point where I was a really good football player, but lacrosse was just my size was good. I had great speed. It's hand-eye coordination. It's change of direction. It's being strong. There's just a lot of different things that go into being a good lacrosse player, and I think that's what makes the game so fun. And I think that's why it's one of the fastest-growing sports out there right now, is because it has so many demands. It has so many different little things that, in order to be a great lacrosse player, you have to be good at.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with, when you look at top athletes like yourself, I'm obsessed with the mindset that goes in the training regimens and all the work, because it's a full-time job in itself. Plus you're running a gym. It's crazy. How do you get your mind right on a daily basis that you're performing on both ends? I mean, you're running a large business, and then here you are, forming and helping form a new league and get this thing rolling. How do you balance that? How's the mindset work?
I think it has a lot to do with routine. But discipline is the word that comes to my mind. You got to be above and beyond discipline. If you can't miss your Monday workouts, you got to start out on a good note. You have to find time to take care of your body. And I set aside an hour and a half, 2 hours at least a day to work on myself. The business aspect, I'm still figuring that out on the routine part and all that stuff. But I think it's really imperative to take care of myself and my body and continue to play a sport at such a high level that I love dearly. And then the business side takes care of itself in that aspect. I'm dialing that in to give myself even more freedom and get back to playing more and training and recovery and all that stuff.
Yeah. I find it interesting when you introduce yourself, you say, I'm Coach Tintle. Did I say your last name right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm from South Jersey. We don't ever pronounce the second T. So it's like Scranton and Trenton. So to say Tintle and make sure I get that second T.
Most people it's Tintle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I would probably, from South Jersey, that's how I'd say it. But I think it's fascinating that you refer to yourself as Coach Tintle when you are a top 200 lacrosse player in the world. What is it about coaching that like you're so proud of? Like this is my title.
Just giving back to a sport that's given me so much, I think, is really where my headspace. It's teaching life lessons through sport. You've probably heard a lot of coaches say that, but it's true. It's, I don't have kids myself, and I consider all the kids that I train or that train at Athlete's Choice, a part of my family. And, we do more than just sports performance training. The kids get offline in school. We work, we're trying to get them, to do the right things on a daily basis, be good people, be great in academics, and then, use sport to get to a higher level or to get to a good college, a good education, everything like that. So I think it encompasses, as a coach, encompasses a lot more. It's a teacher, it's a leader, it's a mentor, and it's directing these young adolescents in the right direction so they go down proper paths and are successful in whatever they end up doing in life is kind of like the encompassing of a coach, in my opinion.
No, I agree, man. And you hit it on the head, right? Like you're a role model beyond the sport. Because when I look at people, a majority of these individuals aren't going to play professionally. They're not going to get paid to play sport. It becomes a passion, but the things that you learn in sports, I think are game changing. What do you think are the top 3 things that you've learned playing the sport that you've taken into your
so I'll go back to discipline. I think it's just made me disciplined. Going into college and playing Division I sport, for some reason I thought I was there to play lacrosse, but I was really there to get an education.
Yeah.
But fitting all that stuff into a day, going to classes, going to practice, going to team meetings, going to film, going to recovery or PT or whatever you had to do to keep your body moving properly. It's a grind. It's tough. It's not for everyone. You see a lot of kids go off and they think it's going to be kind of, so it turns into a job. And if you don't truly love it, it's probably not going to work out. So I think discipline, I think, having a plan in every day and scheduling things out. So I think routine goes back to, and then I think it's just, getting after it, like working as hard as you can in any aspect of the game. And like I said, mine's changed over that time. It's changed from really hitting the weights and killing myself to more recovery type based stuff and nutrition, right? Nutrition's huge. Like I used to eat whatever I wanted in college. So I think, just taking those, disciplinary actions and doing it on a daily basis and really working on that, is kind of pointing on your question.
No, for sure. Yeah. And I'm sure people listening, and I already know this part of your story because I had the honor, pretty much the first time you ever shared it in front of other people. But, you look at this trajectory and here's this kid, phenomenal high school athlete, Division I athlete. Where's the gap, dude? We graduate college at 21, 22, and then you don't get back into the sport until 30. Why didn't you just make that jump into the professional lacrosse right from college?
Well, as you know, I went through a couple of things in my life that kind of changed to the trajectory of where I was going. I didn't plan on playing, everyone's dream in college for the next level is to get that call, right? Hey, you're being drafted to the MLL, Major League Lacrosse, or you're being drafted to the NBA or MLB or whatever it may be, NFL. And I got that call, and because of what happened in my circumstances, I just shut off to the world pretty much. I I kind of had to find my way again, and lacrosse just wasn't in that picture at that time. So I got that call to be drafted first round to San Fran. And, the things that happened. So do you want me to go into
if whatever you feel comfortable sharing, right? Because look, here's the thing about life and why I wanted you to have you on the show. And as my listeners are listening, sometimes hardships can set us back, but there are times where we then check ourselves, get ourselves right, and move forward. Like part of my story is with my mom, right? When she passed away, the brief story is 5 months after she passed away, I started this podcast, which happened to get really big. But the parts that I don't share all the time is, I went through 3 months where I was blackout drunk 6 or 7 nights a week for 3 months straight because I didn't want to deal with the shit, right? But I also think that there's a lot of power in the idea that it's okay to fall on our face with a hardship as long as we pick ourselves back up. And you had a massive setback. You had a massive thing in your life happen where you're like, shit, I don't even really want to live this life I thought I wanted to live my whole life, which is groundbreaking, right? So if you're comfortable sharing, I would love for you to share.
Of course. So let me rewind a little bit about like my college career first. So, I never won an NCAA championship. I never won an ACC game. So Duke, Virginia, Maryland, never beat them once. And that has been over my head for a very, very long time.
I bet.
Now, going into my life story, that college experience wasn't what I wanted it to be, right? Now, fast forward to the end of my career, I took an extra semester to finish up school, and I got a call that I wouldn't wish on anybody out there, but I got a call from one of my best friends, 4 a.m. in the morning. I answered the call. I don't know why I even answered or why I was up, but I answered it, and he gave me the news that one of our best friends was shot and killed in a gang initiation up in Albany. So for me, like I didn't react to it. I said I thought he was joking. I was like, dude, like we played a prank on him that summer before, so I thought he was trying to get me back. And I was like, dude, this is not a funny joke. Like you shouldn't mess around like that, whatever. And it didn't really hit me right away. And this is a friend that I grew up playing sports with, so that kind of encompasses everything. His dad and my dad coached us in football. They coached us, in baseball and some other sports. I played lacrosse with them. So I've known him my whole life. So it didn't really hit me. And then, I call on people that I lean on most, and I called my mom. And right when I called her, she's been in a lot of hardship in her life. She's lost a lot of friends on her journey, and she instantly lost it. And that's when I knew it was really happening. I couldn't believe it. So I hung up on her. I couldn't even talk to her. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Obviously, I just thinking in my own mind. And I went to class the next day and just acted like everything was fine. But really, I was just in a dark place. How old
were you at this point?
20, 21,
like
20,
junior,
21,
senior
22. Yeah, this is senior year. This is extra semester. So 22, 21, 22. And, the only thing that I wanted is to be with my friends and family. So I got a flight out. I think I told all my professors about it, and they, obviously worked with me. But yeah, just being with friends and family was the best thing at that point for me. That's what I needed. Right. So getting the call for, to play professional lacrosse really meant nothing at that point, because life hits you in the face and you kind of gotta, find a new direction or put things that are most important in your way first. So long story short, I went home, went through that whole situation, graduated UNC, denied the offer to play at the next level for Major League Lacrosse. And then, went down a path that just wasn't my character. It never was, never will be again. And that, as much as that path sucked and it was terrible at that time, I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah.
And similar to you, I was going out, I was drinking, not to socially drink, but drinking to forget.
Yeah.
So doing that, among other things, just not doing the right thing. Right. So finally I came home one night from doing that, and I went up again to my mom and just told her, I got to get out of here. I got to leave. So coming home, friends and family was the most important thing at that time, but really I had to find myself.
Yeah.
So leaving that situation. So like sometimes you lean on your friends as the crutch, and really, and I love my friends to death, but it wasn't a good scenario for any of us. We had to change something, right? So I made that choice to get up, pack my bags, and move across country with no plan. Just my truck and some suitcases, some clothes, and whatever cash I had in my bank, and there wasn't much.
Yeah.
So I gave my friends 3 months. I said, look, in 3 months, you guys want to come? I'm saving as much as money as I can, and I'm going to move to California, start new, just start over. I didn't need anybody to lean on. I needed to figure it out on my own.
Yeah. I think that's super wise, by the way, because I think sometimes we tell ourselves that the family and the friends that we've had forever, if they're there during our hard times, it's going to make it easy. But often if they're going through the same things that we're going through, we almost like continue to lean into the pain instead of finding, how do I get out of this? Like I don't live near my family. I promise you that if I lived near my family after my mom passed away, I probably would have been in that position for longer, because you have that constant reminder. They feel the same way. You feed into it, and it becomes this whole thing. But that's super wise to say it's more comfortable to stay with these, but it's not good for me in the long run. Like that's such a huge lesson. But yeah, man, like that's huge. So you pack up and you move across country, and like I'm starting over, and I don't know what that looks like, but I need to clean stuff up, right?
So I moved out to California and literally just applied to every job I could possibly get. I spent most of my cash on the way out here. I had enough for deposit and then I just kind of got to work. And I think even in that part, like just looking for jobs, I started getting into a routine of doing something that took me away from all the other bad things, right? So I landed a job with a solar panel company. And obviously that's not really what I dreamed of doing as a young kid. But I was selling solar panels door to door. So, and I remember when I was younger, when like kids came and tried to sell candy bars, my dad would get pissed during dinner time. So now I'm selling solar panels door to door during dinner time and trying to sell $30,000 solar panels. The reactions that I got were not great.
No.
And that kind of just put me on another path of like, all right, well, let me keep this job until I figure something out. And it got me back into what I love most is sports, strength and conditioning, speed, agility, and lacrosse. I got an itch to play lacrosse again. Not to play, but just to coach it. I wasn't even at that level of playing it, but just to coach it again and get involved again. So I started training at this facility down in Southern California. I built a big following with lacrosse just because I just dove into it, and I really did. And the difference out here is that you have some lacrosse coaches, but there's no development programs. There's no speed program, strength program, or skill program. So I saw that as my niche. Let me have a full proof system for lacrosse players out on the West Coast that are not getting looked at D1 schools at that time. That most of the high schools didn't even have a team yet. So it was very like ground floor. And don't get me wrong, there was some good teams out here, but it wasn't where it is now, even 8 years later. So I started coaching girls and guys lacrosse, and I started getting that itch and that love for the game again. And I would find myself going to these college games or even high school games, and I started coaching high school again. I'm at these games, and I wanted to compete again. I got that itch to compete.
Yeah.
So that led me to like when I was 26, 27 to try out for the Chesapeake Bay Hawks. I went into it underprepared. I just kind of wanted to prove to myself maybe I could play at that level still. Had a great tryout. Thought I was going to make the team, tell you the truth, but made it to the last cut. Obviously, they took guys that have been playing in the league for a while. They know the league and so on and so forth.
Sure.
So that was kind of a setback. But I think it was a good setback. I think it was like, all right, hey, you can still play at this. You just got to put a little more into it. And then I started playing for a pro league called the LXM Pro out here, which was like a Globetrotter type league with some really recognizable names, Kyle Harrison, Peter Baum. These guys played for it, and they invited me to play. So that's when I started honing in my skills again and playing at a high level with a bunch of Division I lacrosse players that are playing in this kind of tournament-style league. After that folded – I still wanted to play, and I was like, you know what, let me try out for the MLL one more time. So I, as a 30-year-old rookie, I went, like I said, I paid myself paid my plane ticket, $150 tryout fee, and there was 100 kids there. And, they told us from the get-go they're going to take one, maybe two guys to camp. So I absolutely balled out. I did really well. I was fast. I was strong. I was injury-free. And they loved me. So they brought me to camp. And then I made the team. And then we went 0-4, and I got cut.
The thing that is incredible about you is the perseverance and the tenacity, right? Like from a personal setback to the professional setbacks to the professional playing setbacks, right? You're just like you can keep cutting me, but I'm going to keep coming back, which I love. Like I love that story.
So they cut me, and then the best part about that is I followed them the rest of the year. Obviously, I felt a part of the team. I got to know the guys really well. They went on and won a championship. They turned their season around. They won about 8 games in a row at the end of the season, and they ended up winning a championship in 2016.
Which is the thing that at this point has always eluded you. Like, where's that championship? Not in college. Now I get put onto a team that ends up winning, but I didn't get there because I got cut. That's crazy. So like, exactly. So where do you go from there? Like, obviously you're still playing now, and we're talking a couple of years after this, right? So like, what happened after that? So
now I knew that I could play at that level. I just have to adapt a little bit more and working. And now I became obsessed with winning. This is when I was like, you know what? You proved yourself you could play at this level, but what's the ultimate goal? Do you want to just play, or did you want to win a championship? You've never won a championship in your life. Yeah. Like, I became obsessed with it. I put it on. I wrote it down in my notes book of like accomplishment. Like, I looked at it every day. Like, I thought about it every day. It consumed me. So the next year, they give me a call. I get invited back to camp, obviously, and and this is actually funny. So 2017, I go to camp and I pull my hamstring within 4 minutes of the camp starting.
Oh my God.
I literally go into the locker room and start bawling because I was a guy that still had to prove himself to be on a championship caliber team. And I don't even have an opportunity now because I have a pulled hamstring. And then the season starts the next week. So they kind of kept me on just, hey, how's it going? And thank gosh I have the recovery center here. So it wasn't a terrible hamstring pull. It was just like a strain. Mm-hmm. So I worked with them, and I actually got back for the first game and played in the first game. I was limpy a little bit, but I played through it. And then, got better, and they kept me the whole season. So really, and we were on, that was probably out of 2016 and, to this past year's team, that was probably the best team out of all 3 years. And we were winning games. We were number one going into playoffs. And then the game before playoffs start, we clinched the number one seed. And we had a game in Rochester, New York, and it was a weird scrum for a ground ball, and I got pushed and I fell and I broke my wrist and tore a bunch of ligaments in my wrist, which now is fixed. But this is before playoffs. So I go off, and I think it's third quarter. I go off. I look at my trainer. I go, I broke my wrist. He goes, you didn't break your wrist. I go, I'm 100% sure my wrist is broken right now, but you can tell me different. So he looks at the stability. He goes, I don't think it's broken. I was like, all right, good. I'm going back in. Tape it up. I'm going back in. So I play the rest of the game. We fly back to Rochester, from Rochester to Denver. And while I'm on the flight, my hand blows up like a surgical glove. You can tell it's broken. So I go up to my trainer.
Is that when the pain started? All the adrenaline was gone? It's just like, oh my God.
It was throbbing like no other, and it was serious pain. So I looked at him and I go, this is fixed, whatever. So we landed, and there was actually a party at the Denver Broncos surgeon's house. So he took a look at it. He goes, yeah, we're going to MRI. Does the MRI. I broke my scaphoid and had 2 grade 3 tear ligaments in my wrist. And he looks at me and says, you're done for the year. This is going in as a number one seed. This is the team that I think is unbeatable, right? And there I am again, sitting on the sideline for playoffs. So I actually, and just to give you a little bit, I've played with pain. Like, my dad's always pushed me really hard. So I played through injuries before. I was going to sign a legal waiver that took the liability off them as the surgeon and the doctors and the PT. and was so close to doing it, but they just talked me out of it because of my gym. I could lose the use of my hand, which obviously wouldn't be good in my profession in strength and conditioning training. So after fighting with them, crying on the phone with them, and pleading my case, they sat me out. The great thing about the Denver Outlaws organization, they're owned by the Broncos, but they flew me out to all the games and the championship game. So they flew me out. We won our playoff game, and then we played in Dallas, Frisco, their new indoor stadium, and we played the Ohio Machine, who had a couple of my buddies on that team. So I'm on the sideline, and I'm just like itching, like dying. I'm like dying inside.
Yeah.
Just because I knew I could have helped us win that game, and we actually ended up losing. So we lost the championship game. This was going to be my retirement year. I was going to, hopefully go out on top, storybook ending. And like, I was ready to retire. I was just, it's tough running a business. It's tough flying out on the weekends, red-eyeing back on Sundays, and then going right back to work and working a crazy amount of hours on my business. So that happened. And then we're in the locker room, and I called my girlfriend. I was like, I'm coming back for one more year. I got to. I owe it to myself, right?
Yeah.
Even though my body, I'm older, I'm starting to break down a little bit more, but I just, you know what? All the flights that year that were just weighing on me and tough, they didn't mean anything in that moment. I was consumed by a ring and a trophy. So I came back again this year. And this year we had our ups and downs. We weren't as good as a team during the year, but we had injuries. Our starting goalie went down, and one of our better middies, all this stuff. But we just came together as a team. Had to win our last game for playoffs. But so we'll rewind. So our last game is against Atlanta Blaze in the league workers' comp. So I opted out of surgery, by the way. So I should probably say that. So in the off season, because of my wrist, I opted out of surgery. They said you need surgery to get it fixed. I saw the surgeon out in Newport, and he said, look, you could opt out of surgery if it keeps getting better. So I got it better, got about to 70%. And then once it was at 70%, next season was here. So I got it back to about 70%. And literally in my head, didn't matter. I was gonna duct tape it if I had to. Yeah. I literally casted it before every game. And it's a workers' comp claim. So if you don't go to PT or if you don't go back to the doctor visit, they drop the claim, and then you can't get surgery, and surgery's out of your own pocket, which I knew that eventually I was going to need surgery probably after the season. So long story short, right before the last game that we need to win to even get into playoffs, workers' comp called and said they were going to cancel my claim. I said they can't. They sent me back to the surgeon. He did a CT scan, and he brought me in and said, I got some good news, and I got some bad news. He said, your bone healed from last year. He goes, however, you broke your wrist in another spot. In half. My
God. And how long was it broken at that point?
I don't know. I don't even remember doing it this year.
Wow.
So I was just taping it up and casting it, just like dealing with the pain. I think I was just so used to it that it didn't really bother me anymore.
Yeah.
I told the surgeon dead on to his face, I said, look, you're not telling my coaches. You're not telling the Denver Broncos organization. You're not telling anyone. This is between me and you. I'll be here after I win a championship. I'll be in the next day for surgery. So he's like, if that's what you want to do. So I was like, so he gave me leeway. I just taped it up a little bit more for those last 3 games, but we ended up beating Atlanta Blaze to get into the championship, to get into playoffs. We beat the Chesapeake Bayhawks, which was the team that cut me.
Yeah, that's
awesome. And now we're playing in the championship in Atlanta, and we're playing the team that I broke my wrist the year prior to. So it kind of came all full circle. Yeah. So I'm, and that, like those 3 games, Atlanta Blaze, we won. We weren't supposed to win. Chesapeake, we beat them by 1 at the end of the game. Weren't supposed to win. They were supposed to beat us. And now we're playing the number 1 team in the league that beat us twice during the season. And we got the opportunity to get them for a 3rd time. And we took care of business. And Coach Tintle got his ring and his trophy. And
that's awesome, man. Dude, that's just so crazy. Like when you talk about continuing to push through, overcoming adversity, the broken wrist, and then you get this thing that you've been battling for, at the age of 32, and like here I am finally raising a trophy after all these years, and even from like the 30-year-old rookie, it's incredible, man. And I was like, I just want to share this journey of inspiration for people to listen to, and just like and understand that just because you're having setbacks doesn't mean it's the end. Like a setback is just an opportunity to get better. You know what I mean? And that's just the total truth right there. And obviously you see it in your journey. So you got your championship, you got your ring. Why are you going back?
You know what? That's a really good question. I just think I have more. I have more to prove. I mean, like, look at all these setbacks that I've had. And, like, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be the one that, like, when I coach these kids at the gym, I'm the one that says setbacks are the best thing for you. They've taught me more. I've learned more in the setbacks than anything else in my life. And how you deal with those setbacks is really crucial, right? Yeah. You could let them be a setback, or you could use them to push yourself forward. And I think that's what I did. I've become really good at, taking these setbacks and turning them into my favor, or turning them into a positive, because it's way more worth it at the end. So the reason why I'm going back, it's a new league, it's a new venture. And I just think lacrosse is at that point in its life where it's going to really take off. And I think this league is going to do it. And I want to be on that forefront of lacrosse. I think it's really special. I think it's a really good time. And you know what? My body could still go. I could still keep up with these young guns, and it's just an itch. It's a game I love. It's a game that got me back on track, and I owe it. I owe it to the game, and I owe it to myself, I guess.
Yeah, man, I love all of that. No, as discussed, man, I wrap up all these interviews with 5 rapid fire questions. Before we get there, how do people follow you on social media? How do they hear more about PLL? What's all the good stuff that they can go check out?
So Coach Tintle is my personal brand or personal handle on Instagram. So it's Coach_Tintle. And then Athlete's Choice RSM is my gym, if you want to follow my gym. And then, that's pretty much it. And then on Facebook, it's Athlete's Choice RSM as well.
Awesome. So if you guys are in Southern California, make sure you check out his gym. Obviously, highly recommended by Coach Cav, who you guys know I trust 100% with pretty much everything. Maybe not everything, mostly everything. So definitely check this guy out. So we're going to get into 5 rapid-fire questions. Some are fun, some are serious. I just ask you this. Answer within one word or at the most one sentence. Are you ready? First one is, what is your favorite smell?
Favorite smell is
awesome. What is your favorite and your least favorite word?
Favorite and least favorite? Doubt.
So is that your favorite or your least favorite?
I thought it was one word that you hate.
No, so 2 words.
Okay, so 2 words. Perseverance and doubt. Doubt would
awesome.
be.
Yeah, man, love it. If you could have dinner with anybody, living or dead, who would it be?
One person?
Yeah.
Living? Michael Jordan.
That'd be a good dinner guest. You're the first person to say him, surprisingly. I think the most said person's Oprah, but you're the first person to say Michael Jordan. That's at the end of your life, if you could only be remembered for one sentence, what would that be?
No matter what the obstacle, he gave it his all.
Awesome. And it's the truth, man. Just looking at your life, like, that is the truth. So congratulations. At the end of your life, you will be known for that, which is incredible. And obviously this podcast is called The Growth Now Movement. So I wrap up every single episode with this one question, and that is, in your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
My biggest moment of growth in my life would have to be, moment of growth would have to be, everyone says you're going down, there's 2 paths, take the good path or the bad path. I think the moment of growth for me was take that tough road and cut across to the good road.
Awesome, man. I love it. Thank you so much, dude, for coming on and sharing your inspiring story and just doing what you do, man, and continuing to pass off your knowledge to the younger generation and continuing to be the old man in the league. I can't wait to see you play this year, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Growth Now movement. This is how you can really help me out. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please share it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. And let's grow this movement to epic heights. And it's all going to be because of you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.